You know, one of the interesting things about raising children is that you spend years trying to teach them things, and then one day you discover how much they're teaching you. Take this package of instant, non-fat dry milk. From the day I'm keeping, you just wouldn't have found it in my kitchen. In fact, I just never discovered it until my daughter taught me to use it. Of course, like most women, I had my own pretty well-fixed ideas about cooking, and I wasn't very willing to change my ways. But Carol had... Well, let me tell you how it happened. Back already?
Uh-huh.
Here, let me help you.
Now, Mother, we agreed that I was going to do this by myself. If I can't get a simple dinner, I've certainly been wasting my time in home ec.
Sorry, dear. What's this?
Instant non-fat dry milk.
Oh?
Sure, there's many different kinds of milk and different ways to use them.
Well, that's new to me. Mind if I watch?
You can watch, but you can't help.
Well, it's all right if I put the ice cream away, isn't it?
Sure.
And so I learned a new way to make meatloaf. Well, new to me, anyway. She had her own recipe in her home ec scrapbook from school. It was for a peach glazed ham and veal loaf. You start with 1 egg, well beaten. To this, you add 1 cup of water and 1 cup non-fat dry milk. Mix this well. Now add the ground meat. 1/2 pound of ground ham and 1½ pounds of ground veal. Then 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/8 teaspoon of pepper, 1 teaspoon of dry mustard, and 1 cup fine dry breadcrumbs. Blend this until it's evenly distributed. Carol told me the non-fat dry milk helps to hold all the ingredients together and keeps the meatloaf from being dry and crumbly. You shape the loaf in a shallow, ungreased loaf pan and use whole cloves on the top. Bake it in a 350-degree oven for 1.5 hours. Now you take a number 2½ can of peaches and drain the syrup into a saucepan. To this, add 1/2 cup of brown sugar and 2 tablespoons vinegar. Let this simmer for 5 minutes. And every 25 minutes, baste your meatloaf with it. 15 minutes before the baking time is up, add the peach halves. Now, Carol told me that the non-fat dry milk helps it retain its liquid and not become dried out. In fact, during the time the meatloaf was baking, Carol told me quite a bit about instant non-fat dry milk.
It's so easy to have on hand and to use, Mom. It doesn't have to be refrigerated. You just keep it on the shelf.
I see that, but just what is it?
Well, they take the fat and the water out of the milk, and you have instant non-fat dry milk.
Well, that's new in this house.
No, it isn't. Let me show you in my home ec scrapbook. It's used in lots of things you buy. Breads and cakes and cookies, biscuit and cookie mixes, cottage cheese, luncheon meatloaves and sausages. You've been enjoying dry milk for years, Mom, in the food you buy.
Well, so I have.
And look at all the things you can use it in at home. Soups, casseroles, meatloaf, and whipped salad dressing. All kinds of breads, pies, candies, and beverages. And with non-fat dry milk, you can make your own homemade mixes for brownies and biscuits and things. And let me show you another way you can use it.
And she did, too. Mashed sweet potatoes were on her menu. And as she started mashing them, she added 1/2 cup of non-fat dry milk, 2 tablespoons of butter, 1/4 cup of water, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. The non-fat dry milk, she told me, makes mashed potatoes more fluffy. And of course, it increases the nutritional value because it's a concentrated form of milk. Well, that was one dinner I had nothing to do with. Instead, my school-age daughter had sent me back to school.
Mom, Dad, time for final exams in home ec class. Come on in and grade the papers. Well, I wouldn't exactly call him a dreamboat. Let's face it, kid, he's been dreary. But then nobody's offered her a Hollywood contract either. Uh-huh. Don't I know? Well, listen, Sharon, Mom's out and I've got a project to do for home ec. So I'll talk to you later. Yeah. Bye.
I guess I'll never understand my daughter's approach to the telephone. But I have begun to understand her approach to cooking and to learn from it. Of course, I had to learn about this project afterward. Her assignment was to make a strawberry chiffon pie. There was nothing out of the ordinary about the way she made her crumb crust, although it did turn out mighty well. Her next step was to dissolve a package of strawberry-flavored gelatin in 1 cup of boiling water and add a 10-ounce package of frozen strawberries which had been partially thawed. She flavored it with 1/4 cup of lemon juice and 2 tablespoons of sugar. Of course, you can vary the recipe by using frozen orange concentrate with orange gelatin or apricots with lemon gelatin or any fruit flavor you like. Now came the part of the job that interested me. She poured 1/3 cup of ice water in the small mixer bowl, then added 1/3 cup of non-fat dry milk and beat it. And it came out so thick and light and fluffy. When the gelatin was partly congealed, or jelly-like, she folded it into the whipped dry milk. She was making a pie, but you could use the same filling for an angel tort or a charlotte or a parfait. Now all she had to do was fill her crumb crust and chill her strawberry chiffon pie till it was firm. It's a mighty easy way to make a mighty good dessert.
Hello? Oh, hi. Say, your timing is perfect, Sharon. I just finished. Oh, it looks fine. Of course I'm having the party Friday night. Don't forget your records. Say, you've given me an idea. As long as I have the kitchen all messed up, why don't I make some brownies and freeze them for the party? You like? Fine. Then I better get with it. I'll talk to you later, okay? All right. Bye.
Carol had her own brownie recipe in her home ec scrapbook. The dry ingredients are 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 1/3 cup of non-fat dry milk, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. These are sifted together. 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 1/3 cup of non-fat dry milk, half teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now, you'll want to cream 1/2 cup of butter. That's 1 stick. And 1 cup of sugar. To the butter and sugar, add 2 eggs, which you've beaten, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 2 tablespoons of water. Beat until light and fluffy. Now you're ready to add the dry ingredients to the mixture. Finally, you add 2 squares of unsweetened chocolate that you've melted, along with 1/2 cup of chopped nuts, and beat until the batter is smooth. Your preheated oven should be set at 350 degrees. Bake your brownies in a 9-inch square cake pan for 35 minutes. Now, after your brownies are cool, cut them into any shape you like. And they're ready to serve as is or a la mode with vanilla or peppermint ice cream.
Hello, Sharon? Oh, hi, Mom. Yes, I know you're late. Put the potatoes on to boil and put the meatloaf in the oven. Sure, I can do that as soon as I clean up the kitchen. Oh, you'll see when you get home. All right. Bye.
I did see when I got home, but I wasn't allowed to taste. The brownies went in the freezer for the party Friday night. And as for the strawberry chiffon pie, well, that had to be shown in home ec class. So I learned the recipe and made one myself. And now I recommend that you do the same.
I think it's an inspired idea, Carol, having a hi-fi theme for a record party. What are you going to serve? Well, for one thing, I'm just about to make the hi-fi pizza. When you finish, you can help.
I had offered to help, and my daughter put me to work turning brownies into little 45 RPM records. I wanted to be around because I found I always learned something when Carol decides to cook. For instance, she had made her refrigerator dough the day before. You take a half cup of butter and add 1½ cups of boiling water. Then add 2 teaspoons salt and 1 tablespoon sugar. Stir until butter is melted. And let this cool until lukewarm. Now, crumble and add 2 cakes of compressed yeast and let it stand until softened. At this point, you put in 2/3 cup of non-fat dry milk and 2 cups of sifted all-purpose flour. The advantage of using non-fat dry milk in the dough is that you don't have to scald it. When the batter is very smooth, add remaining 3 cups of the flour and mix until the dough leaves the side of the bowl. Then you cover it and keep it in the refrigerator till you're ready to use it. This is enough for 2 10-inch pans. Brush the dough with butter and be sure to let it rise for 15 minutes. Meanwhile, Carol prepared her filling. For the filling, she cooked 2/3 cup of finely chopped onion in 1/4 cup of butter until the onion was tender. And then she added 2 number 2 1/2 cans of tomatoes that she drained thoroughly, 1/4 cup of Italian tomato paste, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1 teaspoon of sweet basil, 2 teaspoons of sugar, and 1 1/2 teaspoons salt. Cook this until it's smooth. Sound good? It is, I can tell you. When the sauce is cool, you put layers of sauce, meat, and cheese on the dough. Carol used 1 pound of smoky link sausage that had been cooked and crumbled. And for her cheese, she used 1 pound of shredded mozzarella, one of the new American-made Italian cheeses. Of course, it's also good with provolone or American cheddar. And now the pizza's ready for the oven, a hot oven at 400 degrees, where it should bake for 20 minutes. Girls, that looks delicious. Well, now I've finished the hi-fi brownies. Anything else you want me to do?
Yes, open the oven. Well, I guess it's time to make the hi-fi cooler. A hi-fi cooler? What's that?
This hi-fi cooler was a special kind of punch that Carol figured the kids would really go for. She prepared it this afternoon, and it certainly sounded good. Carol had frozen the fruit mixture earlier in the afternoon. It was made of frozen undiluted orange juice, pineapple juice, lemon juice, and sugar. Then she poured 1 cup of ice water into the mixer bowl and added 1 cup non-fat dry milk and beat this till it was thick. By adding non-fat dry milk, she was giving the kids a drink that tasted good and was good for them. And Carol figured that was a real achievement. Then she folded the whipped non-fat dry milk into the frozen fruit mixture and beat it till it was smooth. The mixture then went back in the refrigerator trays to harden. All it needs is 2 quarts of ginger ale. And that, says Carol, is a cooler that sings in hi-fi. When the girls finished, the table looked so good, I decided to steal the whole idea for a party for my friends. And I had already stolen Carol's idea for using instant, non-fat dry milk in the pizza dough and the punch. But somehow I suspected that my efforts would never earn the praise that Carol got.
Hi, Carol. Hi, Sharon.
Hi, Raj. Hi, Raj.
Man, this hi-fi spread's a real woofer.
Want some punch?
Yeah.
Now, I've always considered myself a pretty good cook. But they say you're never too old to learn. And I've certainly been learning new tricks from Carol. In fact, I suspect that from now on, that's the way it's going to be. I don't imagine there's much more that I can teach her.
Hey, Mom!
In the kitchen, dear.
Mom, I just stopped over at Pam's house, and Mrs. Sims said you make the most heavenly apple strudel. Will you show me how you do it?
You want me to show you?
Why, sure, Mom. You're a wonderful cook.
You never know, do you?